Hello, welcome to the Mark Attwood Show, Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. How are you? You having a good day? I am. Remember, the email sign up is below in the description box. Best way to stay in touch with my work. One YouTube channel down, PayPal account closed, Bitly, all of them. Censorship off the charts. But this video should be completely safe for censorship. I'm going to introduce back somebody who's been a guest on the show before, who we did a fascinating chat about healthy sugar. And today we're going to talk about turmeric, because turmeric is a very interesting subject to me. As viewers of this channel will know, I'm very interested in what we put in our bodies. I have a little cocktail here, sat on my grander plate. So I'm doing my best to be as healthy as possible. And Christina Locke is back. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Mark.
How are you?
I'm really well, thanks. It's great to see you again. And as I say, you look terrific. And so what you've been doing is working beautifully. But it's lovely to be here. I'm super excited about our chat today. So much I want to say. And yeah.
Well, turmeric. Yes, I'll just start with this. This is the turmeric super blend that you make at Sugar Veda, and most of this has been drunk by my son. He loves it. But there's a lot of turmeric's a really interesting subject, because most, like you said before this chat, most people know it's good for you, but there's a lot of misinformation about turmeric and what it can do, and obviously there's, I worked in the CBD industry a few years ago, and the quality variances are massive, aren't they? So tell me what you know, because I know this is a big passion of yours, and I think it's really
It is, yeah. I think we have to go back, because like with all things come in trends. And I would say it was probably about a good 5-6 years ago, there was sort of the buzz that turmeric was another buzzword, the latest superfood. And so what happened was people just jumped on the bandwagon, and all the big food companies, supplement manufacturers, everybody suddenly said, no, we're going to do turmeric. And what has happened is the market has been absolutely flooded with just a whole myriad of different ranges of quality. And I think it gives turmeric a bad name. And I think we have to, if we go back sort of the origins of turmeric are, it's known in the Ayurvedic tradition in India as the golden goddess, because it has so many fantastic uses, not just culinary, but obviously medicinal. So,
yeah.
In the Far East, it's been used for the last 5,000 years. And it is revered, even when in India, when people get married, turmeric is an essential part of all the rituals. They put it on the bride's face, it really is revered. But what has happened is, obviously, you come from where turmeric was grown very much in your own garden with other herbs and spices and things like that. So it was very much a forest garden. You got the best permaculture in its true nature. And so you had all the good qualities. And then, of course, what has happened is, turmeric takes a while to grow. You've got different levels of quality. And what was happening is that suddenly, everyone was growing turmeric, and unfortunately the quality was bad. But more importantly, they were just growing it with loads of chemicals, loads of pesticides. And then, guess what? It's a rhizome. It's not a root, but it's a rhizome in the same family as, say, asparagus, as ginger. So it does, so if you are growing non-organic turmeric, you are getting all the buildup of the heavy metals, lead, mercury, etc., etc. So that for most people, when they're buying turmeric, they think, oh, I'm buying something healthy. But actually, if it is non-organic, you're getting all the heavy metal complications. So I get many people that come to me and say, oh, well, I've been taking, turmeric tablets or buying turmeric, but I'm getting headaches. I'm getting upset stomach. I'm getting, you know, a lot of digestive problems and feeling tired. Why is this? Well, it is because of the use of non-organic turmeric, you know, essentially. That's one aspect. And then the whole other aspect is going down the tablet and the extraction route, which is, you know, again, heavily toxic because, you know, what all the supplement and the big pharma and the big food manufacturers went, oh, fantastic, we're going to get into turmeric. But actually, most of the turmeric that's available in the market is very low grade. So you'd have to take, you know, pile this high to actually get any benefit. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to extract the curcumin, which is the thing that gives you all the anti-inflammatory benefits. And we're going to extract that and put it in a tablet. And then, you know, people were just taking way too much. And, you know, the knock-on effect long term on our liver is just not good enough. And, you know, chain reaction and planet Earth can't keep up, you know, can't make enough of the good stuff.
Well, this happens a lot, doesn't it? With especially in the supplement and health food business. Like I said, I saw it with CBD, and whenever I see big pharma or governments jumping on a bandwagon like legalizing cannabis in the States, I know that there's something afoot. You know, they are going to be they want to control the market. They want to, but they more than that. You know, all food is weaponized against us, and they create the genetically modified versions, and they create totally unnatural strains. I mean, they've been doing this for thousands of years, really. I mean, even the humble carrot is a genetically modified creature.
Yeah.
And bananas are hybridized, and people really shouldn't be eating them. But people don't know this stuff. They all think it's all healthy, don't they? And they think it's healthy. Just go to Holland & Barrett and pop the pills.
And that's the problem. And then you get obviously people that think, oh, I'm going to get a formula that's got, you know, 20 different ingredients and superfoods and all the rest of it, thinking the body's going to be able to absorb and process it all, and then get disappointed when they're not feeling anything, you know, from it, and having spent a fortune on various formulas that really shouldn't be put together. But as you say, manufacturers are doing it because they think the more that's in it is going to appeal to the customers as well, to say, oh, you know, this one's got 20 superfoods in it, you know, and the body just can't process it all at once.
Yeah, I mean, let's remind people of your journey, because as I said at the beginning, you manufacture stuff yourself. How did just remind people who maybe didn't see the first interview we did, how you got to the point where you decided to do this?
Yeah, I mean, so the shorter-ish version, we were both at Manchester University back in the good old days, and back then I was a smoker, and it's very damp, and I just kept getting bronchitis, antibiotics, bronchitis. I was in this vicious cycle. And so then made a decision. I can't, I was just weak, and it was just not a pleasant experience. So for me, that really set something in stone. I said, I want to find a natural route to help and heal my body. And so then began the journey of sort of healing foods, organic foods, and then into yoga, and lots of trips to India, and getting involved in Ayurvedic medicine and cooking. And so all of the roads sort of came, all my passions being, food, well-being, spirituality, and whole being, well-being, and my lifelong love of India and getting to know India. And so with the turmeric product, was quite, because I do catering on yoga retreats and for workshops and things like that. So I was making my own turmeric latte mix, or golden milk, or the haldi doodh as they call it in India, for guests on the yoga retreats. And
what do they call it in India?
Haldi doodh.
Haldi doodh. I like that.
Yes. I probably could pronounce it a little bit wrong, but yeah, that's the traditional, and so I was making it up, with my own powder and this and that. And then I just got people coming saying, this is amazing. Can you not bring out this as a product? And it was coinciding with a lot of other brands at the time coming out with turmeric products that were just so inferior. And I just thought, we need to get this out there in the right way, in the right formula. And I'm very fortunate that I have some fantastic Ayurvedic doctors that I work with in India. And so I went to them with my formula and I said, listen, I really want to launch this and get it out. And they said, oh, yeah, that's fine, but you need to do a bit more of this, bit more of that, more black pepper, because obviously one of the key things with turmeric, it can be, the body doesn't readily absorb it, so it needs a little bit of help. And so the main way we do this is piperine, of which obviously black pepper and long pepper are two primary sources of that. And pipe, just to give you an idea, if you don't have it, it affects the absorption by 2000%. So it's really important that the black pepper is in there. But again, most people and most formulas in the West don't have anywhere near enough, because they're creating it for the Western palate, who goes, oh, it's too strong for me, it's too spicy. But they said to me, if you want to be authentic and you want to get the best results, then this is the amount of black pepper that you need to have. We had quite an interesting journey, because the first black pepper we found was a very, very high grade telly cherry black pepper from Kerala. And that really was super spicy. It was like, oh my God. So I said, we've got to find, there must be another pepper out there being grown that has the same piperine content, but is a less spicier on the palate. So after a bit of, trial and error, we got to the formula that we have now, which is everything is in absolute perfect proportion. And obviously it's hand roasted. That's another aspect. So with turmeric, you have the piperine, which is 2000% absorption increase. Then it heat treated, so we hand roast everything, and that again is another. And then the third is the fat content. So there needs to be fats for the body to absorb it optimally. So that's why traditionally it's taken with milk, or a plant-based milk, or a bit of coconut oil. So
well, I put butter in it.
Oh, butter, ghee, perfect. Yeah, absolutely perfect. That's that is a traditional way of doing it. But a lot of people find that a bit, butter and.
I remember when I first found out about I can't remember what it's called now, but it's when you put butter and MCT oil into coffee.
Bulletproof coffee. Yeah.
I thought the idea was disgusting, but anybody watching this, try it. Just get some coconut oil and butter, put it in any drink, and then put it in a Vitamix or a bullet, NutriBullet or something like that. It comes out like a cappuccino. It's brilliant. And it's the same with this, because my son literally has this every day.
Yeah, no, it's and as you say, so if you can do all of those three things, the first two we cover because it's in the formula, but the third is obviously, then having it with I put it in my coffee like you, and then a teaspoon of coconut oil or MCT, and that works for me. So everyone has their own little routines and rituals, and I think that is
because the fat helps you absorb it properly, right?
Yeah, the fat and the black pepper are probably the two most important elements of the formula. And then then we really want to talk about quality, because turmeric, there are over 200 compounds in turmeric that are good for us, they're beneficial. And if you'd like me to go into them at some point.
I was going to ask you.
So if we go through the main benefits, obviously it's an all-round adaptogen, so it's fantastic. So it doesn't matter whether you take it in the morning, doesn't matter whether you take it in the evening, the body absorbs it, so it's very good for that. Obviously, the number one that people know it for, and the number one reason that people take it for, is the anti-inflammatory benefit for arthritis, any kind of knee pain, joint pain. And, that is obviously, I'd say the number one reason why people are doing it.
Well, I just want to add to that, I was a very heavy tennis player until a couple of years ago. My knee went, and I was taking turmeric for that. And it was amazing how quickly it healed.
No,
it's also anti-cancer as well, isn't it?
It's anti-cancer, regulates cholesterol, it's fantastic for skin, it's a liver detoxifier. There are many people that also say that, you know, especially for things like Alzheimer's, dementia, because of the amyloid beta protein that builds up. So it's very, very good for that. Free radicals, fungus, so
I'm
any
I'm
kind of
I'm a free radical.
yeah, yeah, and we all. um, Fungus, you know, fungus is a big thing. Fungus, mold. So many people have got mold and fungus issues and problems. You know, candida, and so all of these things. It's fantastic for and you know, of course, viral infections, flus, colds, coughs. Cellular damage. I mean, in India, if you are ill, you start getting a little sore throat, cough, cold, straight away you're given, you know, a cup of turmeric with black pepper and honey, and or you know, and that's been their medicine for 5,000 years.
Mm.
And you know, obviously, and especially in this COVID time that we've all been living in, you know, it's just it's such an important um, ingredient, and it's really something we need to have in our daily diet because of, you know, the topsoil erosion, the fact that we're not getting enough vitamins, minerals, and nutrients from the food that is being grown in all the pesticides, etc., etc. You know, we do need to supplement, and therefore, you know, turmeric it really should be in our daily diets because it also delivers vitamins, vitamin C, copper, B6, other key trace nutrients, and obviously it will come back to how it's grown and quality wise, but those really are the main things. So I mean, you know, it just does so many amazing things for the body, and we just need to get it in our bodies in the right way.
We do. We do. That's why I wanted to talk to you about it because I I found it extremely useful over the years, and your stuff is the best I've ever tasted. So
Yeah, I mean, you know, that you know, taste is obviously essential, and you know, because if it doesn't taste nice, people are going to maybe do it once or twice, like with, you know, a lot of super green powders and wheatgrass and all the rest of it. You get very enthusiastic for a period of time, and then guess what? It gathers dust at the back of the cupboard, and then you're doing your annual spring clean, and it's like,
well,
all this
this
stuff.
actually sits by the kettle.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
ever come around my house, all my supplements are out. I get told off because I've just got a pile of them there by the windowsill. Because when they go in the cupboard, you do forget about them. So
Yeah,
I leave them out because then
yeah,
I'm reminded every day. Then
yeah. No, but
makes
that's
for a messy kitchen, but I don't care.
yeah, but you know what? I'm the same, and I have the same issue with being told I've got too many good products and supplements out in front of me. So yeah, it's you know, I think it happens to all of us who are interested in health, well-being, and keeping in good condition. You know.
Yeah. So how about the quality control then?
So this is
what do
where it
people need
gets
to know? Yeah.
very interesting because, okay, so people think, okay, fantastic, I'm going to go for turmeric. You've got two options. You've got, I'm going to get mine via the extract curcumin tablet route. We've touched on that, but I'll come back to it a bit later. Then you've got the whole root turmeric. And people say, oh, well, if I'm going into my local Whole Foods or local health food store and buying a fresh root, it's got to be better than the powder that's out there. Actually, it's not necessarily.
Mm.
So this is where it gets interesting. Now, the whole root turmeric has obviously the most important compound is the curcumin, and the curcumin is what gives the primary anti-inflammatory benefit. Not all, but the primary. Now, most turmeric grown at you know, around the world is really, you'd be lucky if you get 2 maybe 3% curcumin. So you know, they never tell you on any of the packets that you're buying what the percentage is, so you don't know, you have no idea. Plus they dye a lot of the poor quality, you know, stuff you get in Asian groceries and markets and supermarkets. You know, it's fine for cooking. You know, you can add it to color the curry or whatever other dish you're doing. But if you go in and buy regular turmeric from any shop, supermarket, even health food store, you're not going to get a health benefit, really. It's fine for cooking and you'll get the taste, but it's just, there's just not enough of the curcumin and other compounds in it to actually give you the result that you want. So, and we have to really think about that the majority, and I would say 99.9% of turmeric is grown in this way. It's grown industrially. And because it became so trendy to take turmeric, all the farmers in not just India, but, you know, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, they're also growing a lot now in South America, Central America, just went, fantastic, this is our new cash crop. We're going to grow it, and we're going to grow it fast, and we're going to grow it with pesticides. It looks yellow, it looks like a root. Fantastic. And so that is what has happened. They're growing it way too quickly, way too many chemicals and pesticides, and you know the result is you know the quality has just gone right down. So then you have to go, okay, well, where are we going to source our turmeric then if we're going to get the best? And you know, everything, you know, we source from in India is obviously, we work specifically with small organic farms. We've always worked directly with single estates.
Are there,
And
are there any organic farms left in India after Bill Gates and
there are,
Monsanto have
there
decimated?
are, there are.
Good to
It's
hear.
becoming more difficult. And it's really interesting that you mentioned that, because a lot of the European certifying agencies just 3 months ago banned the Organic Indian Association from having organic label products. It's much harder now to get organic certification in India. Because there was, you know, they had real problems, and the Americans, and you know, I mean, typical the Americans, what have they, you know, I don't know why they've got a leg to stand on when it comes from organic, but you know, they said, you know, listen, we're getting, you know, too much toxicity, and so they've really tightened up, which is great
Oh, it's a good thing.
in one way.
Mm.
But obviously it means we had to go right back. We had to, I certified 3 times this year with 3 different agencies.
I don't think people necessarily understand how I mean, the only reason I know about the Monsanto side, oh, I've looked into it, but I lived in Morocco,
Yeah,
and I saw the same problem there, because you know, you go to the markets and they've got all these fruits and veg and animals there, and it looks all fresh and healthy. But then you go down the road to the seed shop, and it's all Monsanto.
yeah, I
And
know.
the farmers are being, you know, screwed. And you know, people watching this probably know that literally hundreds of thousands of Indian farmers have hung
Committed suicide.
themselves
Yeah.
because of this shite.
Because what was happening, Mark, is that they were basically the seed and the pesticide companies were saying to the farmers, okay, you grow this, we'll loan you the money to
Yeah,
pay for the pesticides and the fertilizers, etc., etc. And then what was happening is the crops were dying. They couldn't pay the money back. The soil was barren,
yep,
and you know they live hand to mouth.
yep.
They literally could not afford to feed their families.
Hmm.
And you know this was happening time and time again. I mean, there are now a couple of whole states in India where they have actually banned GMO, and it is now only organic.
Well, that's
So
good. That's
there is,
good to hear. And I think it's also important for people to be aware of this when they're sourcing any products, especially something like this.
yeah, it is. And you know it, and that's why, you know, having you're right, organic on the label is not what it was. It's a big start, obviously, and it is very important. But then you go to sort of the next level organic, which is more the biodynamic, but also forest agriculture. So this is where you get small farmers who we work with, so small cooperatives, and then they don't have much land. They have a very small sort of little farm, but they grow everything in forest style. So they will have a bit of turmeric, they'll have a bit of black pepper, they'll have a bit of cinnamon, they'll have everything growing harmoniously
Yeah.
together. So the soil is rich. You have the topsoil, you have the nutrients. And then what happens is the quality goes up.
Yeah.
And then there are a few strains and there are a few areas where we've been working with the farmers now for a few years. And what's interesting, we started our formulation. So let's go back to sort of average turmeric that has maybe up to 2% curcumin. We started working with the farmers and we were 6%, which is 3 times as more powerful. Now, because of the methods and because we've been working a couple of years and waiting for these harvests and working with the soil, we're now up to 7-8% curcumin.
Well,
which is unheard of. So it is possible, but it takes time, doesn't happen overnight. We work really closely with the farmers, and so that's where you get the results. The soil is good quality. We are in specific areas, and there are specific areas in India that are much better than others for turmeric. Kerala, which was the land of all the spices, doesn't have the same quality of spices anymore because of over extensive agriculture. Which is such a shame because it is beautiful. And I mean, I'm confident that I have heard that there are some farms now going back to basics, realizing what has happened. But most of the stuff we have comes from Andhra Pradesh and up in the northeastern territories near Lakadong, Meghalaya, which is some of the most beautiful, untouched, pristine landscape where they just haven't gone into.
Have you ever thought of running some tours? Because I'd come.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'd love to do a culinary. Yes, that's a great idea, Mark. I'd love to do that.
I'd come. I want an excuse to go to India because I've never been.
Oh, well, then you've definitely got to come with me. We'll do a fantastic trip.
We'll make a movie because
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting, and I also think it's really what you're doing is really positive because without people like you, these farms would die.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
it sounds very positive as well that although there's been all this damage done, because people are starting to wake up and realize that it seems like there's a bit of optimism about reversing all the damage that's been done with GM and everything else.
What is interesting is there's been a huge upsurge of interest in all things organic in India. Part of it's to do, funnily enough, with a lot of expat Indians who were living in, say, the States or the UK, and so used to having organic food in their diet, and they've moved back home either to start businesses or because of family. And so what they've done is that the demand amongst sort of the middle class in India and has just shot up. So there is a huge market for it in India. So that has also fueled huge improvements in the country and interest.
Well, that's great to hear. And also we should talk about the fact that you use sugar Veda in this now. For those people who've not seen that, Veda itself is really interesting. And what's that noise? There's a really loud noise there. What was that?
Oh, not me. No, it could be a bird outside. I don't know. Nature, wildlife.
Yeah, you put Sugar Veda in this, and Sugar Veda is the name of your business and
Yes.
the root of everything that you do. Let's explain that because, again, I like giving it to my kids because they've got really sweet teeth. I mean, one of my sons is complete sugar addict, and I'm trying to get them to take this instead.
Yeah.
And it's been a real godsend to be able to have healthy sugar. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, for me, sugar Veda actually means sugar of life,
Yeah.
because I mean, it's the only sugar in the world that gives you life rather than takes away life, which all other sugars and sweeteners do.
Mm.
It's anti-inflammatory, it's antifungal. So yes, you can use it if you're on candida or other, have any fungal issues. It just clears it all up. It's exceptionally rich in vitamins and minerals, particularly all your B vitamins, and very rich in bioavailable B12, loads of other minerals, including potassium. It's rich in iron, so great for anemia. It basically is blood sugar not only stabilizing but blood sugar lowering. So if you are diabetic or have problem with your sugars, it gives you a bit of a get out of jail free card. So if you like a glass of wine in the evening, or a bit of dark chocolate in the evening, or a cake, you take our sugar and it will basically negate all, get all the bad effects from having that sugar. So not only is it balancing your blood sugar, it regulates it as well. And again, used for over 5,000 years in Ayurvedic medicine. So it is really, for me, there are so many benefits to the sugar. I take it as a food, I take it as a vitamin supplement. I take it for the benefits. Yes, I do cooking and baking and all the rest of it with it, but it is in my day to day because of all the benefits. So then it was really essential. I wanted people to get the benefits of the turmeric, but actually I want even more than the turmeric to get the benefits of the sugar. So putting them together was really something very powerful. And then it tastes great. So
Yeah.
then you want to take it every day. And and one of the things, we work with a lot of practitioners all over the world who use it for particularly kids with autism, ADHD, because it's fantastic with the B vitamins absorption into the gut, but also because, as it loves your DNA, loves the mitochondria. And it also is one of the only things that helps the body produce glucuronic acid. And glucuronic acid is your liver detoxification pathway. So all the man-made chemicals, all the crap we consume, all the exposure to environmental toxins, it's the liver, and it's a high, it's the liver that has to process it, but it needs glucuronic acid to do so. And the sugar Veda is one of the only things on the planet that has this compound. So
Well, I like it because of the millions of bottles of wine that I've drunk over the years.
yeah.
But what's the there will be people watching this say, "Oh, that's Jaggery." What's the difference between
Yeah.
free and Jaggery?
So Jaggery just means an unrefined sugar. It doesn't really, and that can come from anywhere. But the number one Jaggery that people know when they say, "Oh, I've had Jaggery in India," is actually sugarcane. So it is the sugarcane Jaggery that most people sort of, when they hear the term, that is what it is. Jaggery just means it can come from anywhere. It can come from coconut, it can come from date, it can come from kittle. There are arenga. There are many different types of Jaggery, and obviously ours is the Palmyra, so it is a much more specific type. But that's why we start. When I first bought it out, I called it Palmyra Jaggery, and it was just, I was having to literally explain every 5 minutes, this is what it isn't.
Yeah.
So it was just too complicated, and people didn't really understand it. But that is the difference, and there is a huge difference.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Jaggery is better than white sugar if you are going to go, and it does have benefits, and it does have benefits in the Ayurvedic diet, and it is rich in minerals, but it does spike your blood sugar, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, the amount of people that have got type 2 diabetes, and I wish we could just go into the confectionery industry and get them all to start making things with this instead of
I know.
refined, because refined sugar is just one of the worst.
Worst. It's it's poison.
Yeah,
And
totally.
it's poison for the body, it's poison for the brain, and it's so easy to come off it. That's what people don't realize. I mean, I've 1 week after the sugar, literally the addiction goes. You don't crave it anymore. I mean, I used to be a bar of chocolate a night person before finding it, and now there's just no craving there, because it stops that whole hamster wheel leptin crave, and so when we eat a lot of white refined sugars, our leptin response, which is the hunger satiation, disappears.
Mm. Yeah, well, I've noticed that with my son. He's hungry all the time. Son number two, not number one. Number one's completely healthy. Number two's good.
He'll get there. He'll get there.
Working on him. I'm working on him.
Yes.
So are you developing any new products?
I am. I have. I've got two.
I just want to
two in
tell
the
the viewers,
pipeline.
we didn't talk about this, but I had a feeling you would be, because there's so many applications for what you've created.
Yes. Would you like to hear about them?
I would actually, yeah.
Okay. So we are actually developing a new addition to the turmeric range, but using a very, very high quality moringa powder, which I found from some fantastic farmers in India that are really growing a super variety. And moringa's just a fantastic ingredient.
Well,
so many wonderful benefits.
I was going to mention moringa earlier, because when I was in Morocco, I was working with some guys on the Ivory Coast who had the best moringa powder, and it's amazing stuff.
It is. Yeah. But again, it goes back to sort of the quality and all the rest of it. But yeah, so that's one product, and then I'm looking at some medicinal mushrooms.
Oh.
And sugar Veda and coffee.
When you say medicinal, do you mean magically medicinal or just medicinal?
I'm looking at both, actually.
Yeah, because that to me is one of the biggest growth markets in the future. With I always forget the words. Cybacillin.
Cyclobin or
yeah,
I'm not hopeless with the pronunciation.
I know people are in the comments.
Yeah.
Because microdosing and stuff is something I'm very interested in, and it's especially with the last couple of years, people should be looking into that, because it really does help cheer the brain up by rewriting the neural pathways.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot going on in that area, and
mushrooms generally. I love mushrooms. I mean, lion's mane mushrooms are incredibly good for. There's so many benefits to mushrooms.
I have chaga growing on a tree literally in my garden. So when I want chaga, I just go. Obviously now's not the time to harvest it because it needs frost, but I just go and cut a bit of chaga off the tree and add it to my coffee and stuff like that. So yes, I mean there we have a big tradition in Scandinavia of chaga consumption, especially for cancer as well. It is fantastic.
Yeah, well, mushrooms, the chicken of the forest is what.
Yeah.
They're wonderful things, and I love foraging for them, especially in October in fields near sheep.
Yeah, absolutely. So so those are two products we're working on right now. So I'm just hoping to be able to launch them in the autumn.
Well, it's great to catch up with you. It's on the screen. There's a link also in the description if you want to go and support what Christina's doing and look after yourself. Please do that, Christina. It's lovely to speak to you. And,
lovely to speak to you, Mark. Always a pleasure.
Sorry it took so long to organise this one. It's been a crazy year, but
listen, it all happens at the right time in the right place. So everything is great.
Everything's as it should be.
Exactly.
So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, Christina. Take care of yourself.
Thank you so much. Lovely to speak.